In this video, I'm going to show you a home program of a patient that has an L405, L5S1 bulging disc. We're going to show you things what you shouldn't do with the bulging disc, how to hydrate the area properly, warm up, the best core spinal stabilization exercise that you should be using to strengthen that area so it minimizes the amount of shear force going through that disc. We're going to show you two great techniques on how to self-release the pelvis and the spine to relieve nerve pressure. We're going to show you techniques on molding the spine, spinal molding, so you can get down at the root cause of the bulging disc. Hi, my name is Dr. Rob Bates. I'm a chiropractor and a certified athletic trainer. Before you do any of these type of exercises, make sure you check with your healthcare provider and make sure this is correct for you. Through the years, I've dealt with hundreds of bulging disc cases, and what I've learned is that every one of them is different. So check with your healthcare provider about what's right for you. So first thing what we did with this case, we had to avoid the daily activities that was aggravating the condition. For her, she had more of a flexed position of the spine, so any flexion was tough on her. So we had to avoid the sitting for long periods of time in that slump posture. So she had to modify that since she worked at the computer half the day. She had to sit up on the edge of the chair, keep the back at that neutral curve so she wasn't slumping and pushing and irritating that lumbar disc. Also, she was performing a lot of bending and packing of mail orders with her business. We had to teach her to brace her abdominals, keep a neutral lumbar spine, don't round the back, and then bend from the hips so you get the hip hinging. So you had to alter her daily mechanics in order so it wasn't continuing to irritate the already weak link. So you have to look and see what it is in your daily activities that's actually triggering those areas and aggravating the situation. Number two is proper hydration. Because the disc is mostly water and minerals, so a minimum that you should be drinking 1 ounce of water for half your body weight, especially right before you do any of your exercise. Also, you have to have the proper trace minerals, so it's important to have electrolytes added into your water. We like to use Celtic sea salt, take a big pinch of that and put it in a 15 to 30 ounce bottle of water. Do that several times a day. Or we'd use Element, which is the electrolyte replacement drink. You just rip out one of these little packets, pour that in there, and some of them are flavored, and it's a non-sugar flavor, so it's much easier to drink that water for those people that just don't like to drink water. Next thing that we want to do is you want to mobilize the tissue. You want to get motion back in the tissue, and you're doing it a couple different ways. First thing you want to do is myofascial release or mobilization, so you can use a lacrosse ball, softball, tennis ball. Bulging discs take a long time to develop, so there's going to be a lot of imbalances in scar tissue that builds up. So you have to release these areas first before you get motion and start doing your spinal stabilization exercises. So you can take a softball, start off with the glute, and you can go right into the glute area, cross your leg, feel around several different areas and feel where it is real tender. Hold that for about 30 seconds, and you can move your leg around and get motion in there as you're holding that real tender just to release it. You go to the glute medius, go in and out. You can go to the piriformis. Next, you can go up to the QL, because since the structure is deeper bulging disc, you have a weakened structure, so the muscles have to work a lot harder. So you're going to come in here on the QL, hold that, work that area, release it. The QL is tight. It creates a lot of compression on the spinal disc. Then you want to go up to the rector spinae and multifidi, release that. Next is going to be releasing the psoas. So it's going to be anywhere, the spot in between your AS, IS, and your umbilicus. So you're going to come in here and take a lacrosse ball, or you can take a deflated soccer ball, and you can just come right in here and lie on this area. And I like to get my hand and hold on to it so I can direct the force easier. And you find the area, and you contract the glute and relax. Move your leg around a little bit, and you're going to feel the edges of that release. Next is spinal flossing. So with the lower lumbar, it's going to be the sciatic nerve that we're concerned with releasing, especially with those bulging discs. So you want to extend one leg out and try to do this on both legs. And you just come in 90 degrees at the hip and knee and point the toe back up towards the head. Extend the knee up. Keep your foot pointed back down towards the head so you can get a better stretch. Sometimes you're going to feel it all the way into the plantar fascia of the bottom of the foot. You just pump the foot. So you do this about 5 times. Let that release. Feel that sciatic nerve just glide through there. It's going to be easier and easier to move it through this motion. Now that you've mobilized that tissue and you've used the nerve flossing, now we want to get motion in the spine. We want loading and unloading motion. The best way to do that I've found is just get a vestibular disc, overinflate it so that the diameter is smaller that you sit on, so you're going to get greater motion off that and work the loading out of flexion and extension. And when you do that, it creates actually a pumping action in those discs to draw fluid in and to push waste products out, because the disc has a very poor blood supply, and the only way it can really get it is through a process called imbibition. That's when you have motion of loading and unloading in the spine. That's why motion is the lotion for the disc. So you want to start off with about 50 flexion extension like this. Then you can go side to side, call it the hula. Keep the abdominals braced during this process. Do another 50 side to side. Then you can end it up, fold your arms across your chest and do rotations, 50 each way. And this will help mobilize, heat up the tissue. People with bulging discs, there's going to be a lot of scar tissue. You get the heat. You want to heat it up, increase the blood flow, make it more malleable and easier for the spine to change later on in this program. Number 4, we want to work exercise. We want to work the best spinal stabilization core exercises, the ones that can strengthen up the core, decrease in the shearing force, so provide minimal shearing force into that spine, so allow that spine to get strong and not get irritated. So you want to do lateral planks. You can hold for about 10 seconds. Reverse. Hold for a 10 count. And then reverse. And you want to do 10 repetitions each side. Next is abdominal curl-ups. Now it's important when you do these abdominal curl-ups, you want to keep a neutral lumbar spine. You don't want it to flatten out. You want to preserve that to help with the disc. You can get a towel, make it about the thickness of your hand. Put that underneath the small of your back to where it's right underneath your belly button. So now it's giving that nice lumbar curve, supporting that. Now the next step, you want to brace your abdominals like someone's hitting you. Lift your head up. You want to reach and you want to hold that brace, contract the abdominal curl up. Do that for a 10 count and then relax. And then you want to repeat that 10 repetitions. Next is the bird dog, that you want to go ahead and extend out all fours, extend your leg out. One of them, point the toe towards your head so you're leading with the heel. Grip, make a fist with the opposite hand. Reach out, keep your back parallel and flat with the low back. Hold it for a 10 count and then you repeat. You want to do 5 repetitions on one side of 10-second holds. And then switch. And then you're going to perform 5 repetitions on the opposite side. 2 sets on each side. Next is the glute bridge. You want to brace abdominals, lift the toes up so you're going to dig the heels into the ground, contract the glutes. I'm going to hold that brace into that bridge. Hold it for a 10 count. And then you're going to relax. And you're going to repeat this exercise 20 repetitions. Number 5, we're going to do some pelvic and spinal release. So you want to get a strap to go around your leg. I like to use the slingshot. Put it above your knees. You want to, you're on your back, opening up. Hold it for a pregnant pause. Relax. Hold it, press, 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 relax. Do about 3 repetitions. Legs up, about 90 degrees. Put one hand in the front, one hand on the opposite side on the thigh. You counter rotations, but you resist this motion. Then you switch it over. You resist this motion. Perform this about 3 times each way. Then you take your yoga block, slide that in between the knees. You want to squeeze firmly together, brace, squeeze firmly together, and you're going to feel maybe a release right at the pubic bone where the abductors attach, or maybe right in the low back, or right in the SI joint. And I'll repeat this whole process about 2 or 3 times. Next is Releasing the lumbar spine, so you want to drop one leg down, lift the other one about 90 degrees, flat back, rotate to the side, but what you want to do is with this arm, you want to brace with your abdominals, but resist the motion coming down. Resist, 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 and then you want to switch it to the other side, resist. Resist that motion. As it goes under tension, you may hear some pops and cracks through this area. It's a great release, though. The glutes, the QLs, the multifidi, the rector spinae. You want to do about 3 to 5 times each side and relieve some of the nerve pressure in the low back. Number 6, we're going to do some repetitive spinal extension. So we're going to use one of two things. You're going to get a beach towel. Beach towel, you can roll it up, place it right above the belt line there, right? The farthest you can go down before it hits your sacrum or your tailbone. Tighten up your legs, brace your abdominals, but then you want to extend back over that contact. So you can come in, loop it in, extend back over, and relax. Extend back over, relax. Try not to get too much of the arch in your hips forward. Try to keep the hips steady, but just get the lumbar spine coming back over that. So you hold it for a pause. Start off with 20 repetitions. Work your way up to 50 to 100 repetitions per day. Besides the beach towel, you can use a strap. I like using this strap. It's my surfboard strap that I use for on top of my car. It's easier for me to create a small contact here at the low back. I can loop this around my hands, interlace my fingers, and I can just cup them like this, and then I can brace back and just lean back right into that. Get it right at the small of the back, extend out, and brace, go back. 20 repetitions, work your way up to 50 to 100 a day. Number 7 is we're going to do this supine extension exercise. And you're going to lie on your stomach, elbows underneath your shoulders for support. You extend up, and we're trying to recreate the lumbar curve. You want to do this for 2 minutes initially. Work your way gradually up to over 10 minutes per day. Reason why is because we want to migrate that disc back into alignment along with actually changing the lumbar curve. And you got to get this sustained extension into it in order to stretch out the ligaments and the disc so they can create a spinal molding and create some curve change. A normal lumbar lordosis should have the weight bearing of about 75% on the disc in the front and 25% in the back. The curve should be anywhere from 35 to 40 degrees. People that have bulging discs are going to have a decreased curve, which means you have more weight putting on the disc, pushing it back into the nerves, and that will create the bulging disc over time. So we're going to reverse that process by doing this. This is one of the techniques that you can use to actually correct the spine. The last thing you want to do for that rehab program for structural rehabilitation is that you want to walk right after you finish your traction on your stomach. You want to walk about 5 to 10 minutes at a time. Walking is real important to get the proper motion within the joints, but then it'll create the motion within the spine also and hydrate the disc. Now, if you want to know more about inversion or spinal decompression for those discs, check out this next video. If you're new to my channel and you want more information for home-based spinal rehabilitation programs, please subscribe right here. So we really appreciate serving you. Keep spreading the word. We'll see you in our next video.